Question 3 is about coordination of the human body, so the nervous system. We start off with figure 2, which is a diagram of a nerve cell. You can see that we have a nice long axon here. It's not labelled, but this outer coating is a myelin sheath. You have your dendrites, which will go to synapse, which connect to other neurons. On the opposite ends, you have receptor cells, which are part of the skin. So these receptor cells will be sensitive to pressure and temperature. If we look at 3.1, which label is the cell nucleus? So this one here, A, that's our nucleus, which is the receptor. As we mentioned a second ago, it's part of the skin, so it's going to be D. Figure 3 shows the nerve pathway when a person touches the sharp pin. So this is essentially a reflex arc. We have the change in the environment, the stimulus, which is the sharp pin. That will be detected by the receptor cells in the skin that will then travel as an electrical impulse through the sensory neuron all the way until it reaches the spinal column, where it will pass across a gap which is called a synapse, and rather than being an electrical message, it will diffuse across this gap as a chemical messenger. And they have this relay neuron, and again another synapse, then back out of the spinal cord down the motor neuron to the muscle, which is the effector. Now this one over here, A, that's got to be a synapse, which is, again, as we said, is a gap between two neurons. B, well, we've already got sensory, we've already got relay, so B must be a motor neuron. So you go sensory neuron, relay neuron, motor neuron, effector, which carries out the response. If it's a muscle, the response will be to contract. The other type of effector you can have is a gland which will release a hormone. When the figure touches the sharp pin, the muscle in the arm contracts to pull the arm away. What type of action is this? Well, it doesn't involve the brain. The brain's nowhere. Well, it is somewhere, but it's not part of this question. So it's not a conscious action. Delayed action, that doesn't sound sensible. Reflex action, yeah, it's a reflex action. It's automatic and rapid. So if you need to protect your body from harm, it needs to happen. Your actions need to happen quickly. So rather than spending time sending a message to the brain and you having to make a conscious decision, it goes to the spinal cord through a relay neuron and then happens straight away without any conscious thought. Doctors tested people of different ages to time how long it took between touching a sharp pin and the muscle contracting. At each age they tested 5 men and calculated a mean value. So you've got a decent sample size. They calculated a mean value. So you're obviously going to have reliable data here. So how much longer does it take for the muscle to contract at 80 years of age compared to 20? So here's 20, which is 18 seconds. Here's 80, which is 30 seconds. So first of all, we need to look at the difference between these two numbers. So 30 minus 18 gives us 12. I misspoke earlier when I said seconds. It's actually milliseconds, which means we're going to have to do a little bit of extra work. So 12 milliseconds. There are 1000 milliseconds in every second. So to convert from milliseconds to seconds, I'm going to divide by 1000. And that's going to give me 0.012. And again, make sure you use a calculator for this seconds. 0.012. Put it in the appropriate place. Give it a nice underline so the examiner knows what he's looking for, and there we go. Figure 4 shows some glands in the human body that releases hormones. A, I think that's the pituitary. B will be the thyroid. D is the pancreas, which releases insulin, and C the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys. Which label on figure 4 shows the position of the pituitary gland? Well, as we said a second ago, that's this one just below the brain, so that will be A. Luteinizing hormone LH is a hormone released by the pituitary gland. What is its function? Well, it's a female. It's involved in the female menstrual cycle. So luteinizing hormone controls the release of an egg. If they'd asked you about follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, that would cause the egg to mature in the ovaries. You've also got estrogen and progesterone, and those two are responsible for stimulating and maintaining the thickness of the uterine lining. How does it get from one place to another? So how does LH travel from the pituitary gland to its target organ? So all hormones travel in the bloodstream. All hormones travel through the bloodstream. Figure 3.9. Figure 5 shows the relative levels of sex hormones of 3 young people over 30 days. You've got person A, person B, person C, and if we look at our key, the solid black line represents estrogen, the light dotted line is progesterone, and the heavy dashed line is testosterone. And it's asking us which person is the 18-year-old boy. Now, we know that testosterone is only high in males of a certain age, beyond puberty basically. So if I look along here, this one's got a really high testosterone compared to all the other ones, so this one is probably going to be our 18-year-old boy. So person C, because they have the highest level of testosterone. Highest level of testosterone.